I recorded the intro out of order, but I've just now realized I need to tell you before the actual video starts. This game is going to be hyper spoiled. I don't even know if I'll talk about the story that much, but the background has to be something, and I can't exactly show you the story game background without you being able to read the text that appears on walls, and also all of the other very important details that the game shows you through a series of flashbacks and stuff. So do not watch this video if you want a very, very touching game regarding death and regarding just family connections, love and loss, all of that is hyper stylized and has a very, very good voice direction. What Remains of Edith Finch is a first-person walk-around exploration type game. It's made by Giant Sparrow, the same people who have made other very, very well-regarded games. And it was of course made in 2017, with the most recent release of the game being in 2022 on the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Sorry, I kind of read the Wikipedia, but this game was great. I played this game fully expecting to play a game that I would describe as a short indie game that I could write a podcast about and that people had said was really good, but I kind of expected it was only really good because it was made years ago and it was made during like the turn of video games becoming super hyper popularized. Effectively, when video games started becoming art instead of just entertainment. And I kind of thought, yeah, okay. But this game really was great. It had an amazing story. I had very minor complaints about it, and really I just loved the presentation of it all, except for a small detail, I guess, technically. The gameplay of What Remains of Edith Finch, which, by the way, the acronym for this is kind of hard to pronounce, so you might hear me say REF or RUF or something like that. The name is annoying. Anyway, the gameplay of RUF is effectively an anthology. The game opens up with this pretty cool title sequence where you're sitting on a boat reading a story written by Edith Finch, and then it hard cuts to you, the player, playing as Edith Finch. You slowly walk the woods as your own writing literally appears on walls and in the air and other surfaces to show you're writing this. You're you're reading what you had written when you had experienced this moment, and you are presently experiencing that moment. I feel like I'm explaining this in a way that makes it make less sense. It's pretty easy to understand the concept, though, of you're reading a book and the text that the book has in it is appearing on the walls. Yeah, like that. Either way, the game is very, very good at its, I wouldn't call it environmental storytelling, but its environments in general. I've gone back a little bit and I've seen some of the stuff that happens near the beginning of the game, and I've realized how much I do love the interconnected story of it all. The game follows Edith Finch going back to her old family home after, I believe it was January something 2010, the last night that anyone was in the house alive. She goes back, he relives many, many memories of every single one of the Finches, and it all really boils down to this grandiose story of just the life and times of the Finches. A family that I think she describes as both blessed and cursed, because they almost always seem to find a fun, very, let's say, unique way to die. And they always also seem to find something great within their life as well, though, making their death either bittersweet or very, very heartbreaking. Because, either you had it all and then you lost it, or either you basically had nothing and then right before you died you gained that something. I'm listing two examples without saying their names, because I genuinely also struggled to remember a lot of the names of the characters of the family members. I remember, the deaths that stuck with me, because playing through the sequences of Calvin, playing through the sequence of Odin. Very, very fun. I'm sorry I'm yapping a little bit, but it's very hard to ignore some of the amazing storytelling and artwork that is shown through the medium of this game. Especially because each individual sequence, although not exactly unique, like it's not as if you're playing something fully different than what you normally play, is different. The most unique one being the person who unironically started like spacing out so much that they fully like hallucinated a separate world from the one that they were currently in. So that one was obviously separate and unique gameplay wise, but yada yada, I'm getting ahead of myself. I might have touched on it briefly already, but like the style of the game. The style is great. The environment feels good. The house feels almost mystical, but it's not. It's still very mundane. Edith herself calls it a normal enough house, but there's just too much of it. Too much of everything. The books, the walls, the bricks, the smell. I guess we, the player, can't smell it, but I can tell you there's plenty enough bricks and books and everything else. The house does feel like a normal house that's just more, just too much, overbearing. It feels like you're already walking into a scene long, long lived in and now barely, faintly forgotten. And that was before I even knew about the story of the Finches. The game just really paints its environment that well at first, of really selling the idea. The sound design, I guess, comes next. I'll be honest with you, other than the voice acting and a bit of like the special music that like was more unique, I didn't notice too much sound design. I don't think the game is exactly trying to blow me away with its music. I did like the different voice actors for the different Finches, for the different family members. That was very fun, but beyond that, I'm not exactly going to give high praises. Maybe I'll go back to the soundtrack at some point, listen to it once more, see if I just wasn't noticing it because I was too wrapped up in the story. But hey, it's a story game. What am I gonna do? The length of this game is quite short. If I understand correctly, it's about 2.5 to 3 hours long, and a quote-unquote completionist would barely spend more than like 20 extra minutes, maybe an hour after that, just getting the achievements, because most of the achievements are either intuitive, easy, or somewhere in between, I guess I'd say. Like, they're not meant to be complicated. The hardest achievement to get is beat the game and then wait till the end of the credits, and probably the second hardest is just figure out that you had a specific option you could have picked during one of the sequences. And like, oh no, that's so hard. It's not like the game gives a replay function. But like, the length of this game was quite short. It was very short and sweet. I definitely did love how like the amount of time I spent playing this game was way further exasperated by the fact that I was just taking it all in so much and pausing. Like, this game I feel like is made for you to spend more than the minimum amount of time, because you're meant to really sit there and let some of it all stew. You're meant to feel like you're stuck in this environment and that you're really like climbing to the top of the house just to see it all. Moving on to the price, totally didn't just yap about the length into the story once more. I love this game, and by the story if you can't tell. The price, this game was cheap for me. I got it on sale with a bundle of another game by this game's developer. So for me specifically, I'm pretty sure this was like $5, but normally the game is about $20. I think I'm going to use the difficulty section as my actual time to give my one complaint about this game. Please give me a FOV slider or like a way to speed up and run or something, bruh. I had so many moments of being thrown out of my like awareness of everything, being thrown out of my suspension of disbelief, just because I would be looking through a peephole, and then when it went back to Edith's normal perspective, it felt like I was slammed against my monitor because it's too close. My FOV should not be this close. It feels limited. I have like the opposite of a prey animal perspective in this game sometimes. I have no peripheral vision. I cannot see anything left or right of me. And it's hyper noticeable during certain segments of the game where you're in a like tight corridor going up and down a ladder or something, and I cannot tell what is beside me or behind me or anything that isn't dead ahead in front of me, and I need to turn around sometimes. Not always am I moving straight forward. If this game was just walk forward, I wouldn't like it as much. No, you like explore up and down, around, left and right. But that also means that I have to like find my bearings way more than I should have. And like also Edith walks slow. I didn't like it at first. I'm more fine with it now because I actually understand that the game's kind of made for you to take it all in slowly. But that opening segment where you're in a forest, you don't need to be walking that slow. I'm in a darn forest. I'm in a confined house. I'm like barely even walking. I'm like slow walking, tiptoeing, sneaking to the house that has no one in it. Edith is unnaturally slow walking up to the house. At least in the house, like I said, confined environment, it feels like you're actually moving more than you are, especially because stairs and stuff exist, so you know. You're moving upwards and you're moving like left and right, and thereby it feels like more movement. But holy crap, did I like have a disdain for the FOV for a good majority of this game. Luckily, the story is that good to fully overcome it, not balance it out, like fully overpower that complaint, but it is noticeable. It is the kind of thing that I feel like could really mess with someone if they have like motion sickness or something. I don't know. I'm not that guy exactly, but I am the person who played the game and said, man, this is jarring as heck sometimes. I don't like it. Anyway, the outro's here now. I will see you guys next time. Bye. Or wait. No, I won't. Unless things go differently because I have one person who says that they might make a podcast episode for Thursday. I won't see you guys next time. Goodbye. Thank you all for watching truthfully. And I will see you another day, another time.